Bob, what happens in a situation when a seller decides they don't want to sell?
All right, so you're usually in a situation where you're already in contract. Contract means that several months ago you negotiated a deal. The seller said, I want to sell my property for X amount of dollars. The buyer agreed to buy that property for X amount of dollars and puts down a deposit. From there, that point on, the buyer attempts to get his own financing, get all his money together, orders a title search, and works towards the closing. And the seller should be reviewing the title search to make sure that all of the issues that are raised in the title have been cleared or will be cleared, and they will also be paying off whatever liens or mortgages that come up against the property. And then at some point in the future, if both sides do that, they will have a closing. Now, occasionally, a seller may decide they don't want to sell. That's not a really good idea because you are in contract. You have promised to sell your property for X amount of dollars. That situation might come up or generally comes up if the seller feels that maybe they could have gotten more money for their property. Occasionally, sellers change their mind. Whatever plan they had to go somewhere else, a job, a different area, move in with friends or relatives, or buy a property somewhere else, falls through, and the seller then says, the next stage that I was going to go to has collapsed. I can't sell or don't want to sell anymore. That occasionally happens. More so, what happens is that the seller says, hey, I probably could have gotten more money. While we were in contract, people came up to me and said that I want to offer you more money, and now I'm saying I'm going to lose money by selling it to this person I'm in contract. So they may try and refuse to go to the closing. What the buyer's remedy might be is to start an action called specific performance. That means you would go to court with your attorney and ask the judge to compel the seller to specifically perform. The problem generally with any type of lawsuit is that it's expensive, it's debatable if you're going to win or lose, and whether you win or lose, you're probably not going to know for a good amount of time in the future. So for the seller, the stakes are if they lose sometime in their future, the property probably hopefully has even risen in value and they're taking more of a bath. And that's the reward for the buyer if they're successful, in that they will buy the property and it will have appreciated in price, but they will be paying the lower price. But once again, the buyer will also be in limbo for several months or years until that's decided. The bottom line is when you're in contract, seller has to do something, the buyer has to do something. If you don't do it, you end up in court. The effect of going to court is paying attorneys and having a judge decide your fate, something you probably don't want to do. So you might want to try to somehow negotiate a resolution, to the situation. But in any event, you should always consult an attorney who's familiar with real estate to give you exact advice for your specific type of problem.